Hi there. It's Sunday afternoon, almost 3 o'clock. September 18th, 2022. Went to church today. I took my motorcycle. Big Harley. Been riding motorcycles for 57 of my 62 years. I was practically born on a dirt bike. But I remembered a story. Something that happened to me when I was 22. So that would be a long time ago, 40 years. I had saved up for a long time and finally got enough credit and was able to pick up a brand new street motorcycle. I had not had street motorcycles before. I've always ridden dirt bikes, although I rode them on the street. Since the statute of limitations is over, I can say I rode my dirt bike on the street in 1977. A lot. Never got caught. So it's my first street ride, and I had been practicing for it. I practiced with it for a couple of months before I actually took it. It was down in LA area, so I rode like more than 30 miles down the LA freeways to get to East Los Angeles, where I worked at. And I was bound and determined to ride that. And I did, I started riding it. It was fine. A couple months into it on my brand new bike, and I'll show you that bike. I found a picture of it on the internet here. We will transition over to here. I'll open it up and see. That's what it looked like. 1981 Yamaha 250. It had this little trunk back there, and you could fit a whole case of soda pop in the back of that trunk. It was huge, but it was just a little tiny, a little one-cylinder thing. And I missed that little bike. I had a lot of fun on that bike. Put a lot of miles on it, riding it back and forth to work and stuff. But yeah, nostalgic. But anyways, yeah, that's what it looked like. So on my road to work one day, and this is a miracle part, I was on my way to work. You go down this one street, and we lived on the whole area was on a hill because it was up going towards the Angeles Crest Forest Mountains up there. So, and there was one street you go down, and you pull, you wait for the traffic. The traffic, you're on the street, the traffic goes straight across, and then a freeway on ramp that goes on there. And I pulled up to the stop sign on my motorcycle, and if you know motorcycle gearings, there's a lever on the left side, and the gears are first is at the bottom, and then neutral is in the middle, and then second, third, fourth, fifth is up there. And I've been riding all my life, and I knew these gears, and I was sitting at the stop sign, and it's a habit when you're sitting at the stop sign on a bike for your foot to be pressing down on the gear level to make sure you're in first gear. There's no way you can not be in first gear, because to get any higher, the neutral is there, and then second, third, fourth as you put your foot under the lever and kick it up. So I was sitting there in first gear, first one at the light, and hardly ever the first one at the light. There's a lot of traffic down there, but I was the first one at the light, and waiting, and the light turns green, so I took off. Right? 22. I took off. And that bike was in third gear. Okay? And, it's a brand new bike. There's no way it can be in third gear, because you'd have to go first, neutral, second, third. You'd have to click that thing 3 times to get it up into third gear. So instead of going, like this, I took off, and it's like, real slow. Long about then, I just started out across the street, and something put my bike in third gear. And this lady in this little car came sailing across that intersection. Cold, dead red light. Ran that red light, doing about 60 miles an hour, and just clipped this much of the front tire of my motorcycle. Just clipped it with her bumper. Enough to take the handlebars out of your hands, and put you down. Of course, she stopped. Oh, everybody, okay, I'm so sorry, late for work. The typical excuses. But she was doing 60, and I know I was in first gear. So the only explanation is that A, I don't know what I'm doing. That's not true. B, angels are terrible motorcycle riders. That's not true. I believe angels are with you all the time. Or D, God had another purpose for my life. Because if I'd have taken off in first, I'd have been in the middle of that intersection. I would have gotten broadsided at 60 miles an hour by a car and gotten killed instantly. There's no way you could have not been killed in something like that. So I picked myself up. The back was a little bent, but it's still a road, and I was able to go back and forth to work and stuff, and eventually had it fixed. That's the only motorcycle accident I've ever had, and I've been riding all my life. And it just goes to show, if you're careful, things happen. I wasn't in the wrong by going across the intersection. That lady was purely in the wrong by running that red light, and she ran it on purpose. Trying to get to the freeway. Nobody had cell phones then, so there wasn't any cop calling or anything like that. And I just said, I was shook. I said, I'm okay, no problem, go on. I should have made her pay for the damages. Taking all the information and stuff. But to be honest, I didn't have a motorcycle license. I just had the permit. The permits allowed you to ride on the street, but they didn't allow you to ride on the freeway. And I was heading for the freeway. So I was kind of, not totally in the right, but God was there. God had plans for me. So I no longer make sure my bike's in first. I just kick it down and, now the new bikes now, they got numbers on them so you can tell what gear you're in. Didn't stop me from riding. I get back on that horse. But, yeah, that's the story of the angel on the motorcycle in the day in 1922. It was 1982. Right after I got in that bike. That, God spared me. And his angel spared me. But that's a quick story after yesterday's long story. But remember, love God. Keep your coffee warm.